Okay, test, test, test. Hello, everybody. Wow, 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 wow. We don't want that. Oh, there we go. All right, hello, everybody, and welcome. Another Sights and Sounds of Earth. We've got some stuff going on tonight. It's going to be a fun night. We've got some breaking news I want to discuss. Something that, remember what they say, today's conspiracy is tomorrow's breaking news. And we have another case of that tonight. A long-held conspiracy that for decades, we've been told that we're full of shit, that we don't know what we're talking about, and we just need to sit down and shut up. Looks like we might have been right. And I'm going to get into that in just a minute. That's called a tease. I'll be getting to that in just a minute. And you won't believe what it is. You're going to have a hard time. This only broke a few hours ago. And this is going to be a great discussion tonight about something that's been a long-held conspiracy theory that the government is now saying, hey, probably something to that. We're going to look into it now. We're going to get to that next right here on Starship Adventures. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. My name is Ian, and you are live tonight in Starship Studios in North Fort Myers, Florida. And we are broadcasting live worldwide on YouTube, the world's largest broadcast platform. And we are using fiber optic or glass all the way to the internet. And we're able to maintain up to 9 streams in here. And I'm purchasing another computer, maybe 2, this week. And so we're going to be, I'm going to be installing a laptop. I'm purchasing about a $1,400 laptop that's going to go in the car. It's not going to stay in the car, but it's going to have a docking station in the car. And I'm going to be able to composite screen broadcast like I do here in the car. If the internet's good enough, I'll be able to even do a sights and sound show. But even on the jetpack, I'll be able to go out and I'll be able to show you guys what's going on a lot better. How about this? The entire top of the screen would be the windshield. You would get to see the entire out the front of the car. The bottom half of the screen would be a shot of me sitting in the driver's seat, a shot out the back window, and a shot of the front of the radio through a capture device, so it's crystal clear and you can see the waterfall and the spectrometer and everything, the frequency. You can see everything right on the screen. And then I can do all that and do it over a laptop computer, which gives me all the same abilities that I have here, which is a big interest to me at this point. I want to be able to take this show on the road anytime I want to. I want to be able to pull over somewhere where there's a good Wi-Fi connection and just sit there and do the sights and sound show at night. I want to be able to stay mobile sometimes. I want to be able to go and provide coverage of things. And the only way I can do this is to put a good computer at my disposal. I'm going to permanently install 3 or 4 cameras in the car. I'm going to install this capture device. It's all going to be installed in the car. And that way, when I stick the radio and the laptop in there, everything will just plug in and I'm ready to go. It's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to it. Let me get my chat room up so I can see who's in tonight. And then we're going to get to our breaking news here in just a minute. You have multiple accounts like I do, it becomes a little complicated. Sometimes you have to keep signing in with whatever account you need to use. I need to start using 2 completely separate browsers. Hey Joseph, thanks for being here tonight. And Bill, thank you for being here tonight. And also Comms Prepper, thank you for being here tonight. No, I don't have a lot of comment on NASA's thing. It was a lot of hype for nothing. I knew from the distance that we were looking that these Mars spacecraft and surface craft that we have, I knew that they were going to be so far away that they hyped this thing. They hyped it so bad. Oh my God, we got these great close-up pictures. No, you have nothing. That's why I was joking around last night. Oh, look, you can see people waving through the windows. It literally was like a bright spot in the middle of a gray mat. And one of them was a bunch of little blue squares. And I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. I think they hyped it. They took 30 and 40 days to release some of these pictures. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then when they release them, there's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. So I don't know. It is what it is. I love NASA. I think it's got its challenges right now. It is a government organization, and anytime the private sector steps up, they end up doing it better and badder and faster. And so I get where NASA's at right now. It's so hard to do anything at NASA with the red tape and everything because it's government, and those guys there are really trying to do their best. I have a lot of respect for our NASA people, our astronauts, our rocket scientists, our physicists, our launch pad assistants, everybody that's involved in the entire space program, both public and private. I have an immense amount of respect for. It's such a necessary thing that we do. And so there you go. But that being said, I'm not happy with the way, because they're government, with the way they release things to the public. It's a picture of a rock in space, and they have to make me wait 31 days to look at it. The only time you need that much time is when you want to cover something up, or you want to change something, or you want to make sure you're not accidentally releasing something that you don't want released. I don't understand it, and it aggravates me. That's all I'm saying. Still love NASA, don't get me wrong, but it aggravates me. Yeah, and that's another thing. Nothing we've taken pictures of this thing with so far was designed to actually take pictures of it. We do have some things here near Earth, in Earth orbit and things like that, like the telescopes. What is it, Hubble and Webb and whatever. We've got several telescopes up there, and they're going to get a decent look at this thing. But I want you guys, again, NASA's going to hype the pictures. They're going to take 30 days to come out. We're all going to get excited, and we're going to be 1.6 AU away. That's 1.6 astronomical units away from the object, which means we're going to be 1.6 times the distance between here and the sun. So this thing's going to be a lot further away from us than the sun is away from us. So it's going to be pretty far away. It's not going to be close. So even with our best telescopes, training on this thing for hours at a time, collecting all the light they can collect, processing, overlaying, dithering, interlacing, everything, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to get a picture of a spacecraft or even the picture of a rock. You're going to get more of these glowing orbs and images. Let me tell you something. They do glean a lot of information off of this. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that those pictures are as worthless as they look to us. They're not worthless. They're getting all kinds of stuff, like the different off-gassing that it's doing. They're able to, check for minute course changes and things like that. So, I mean, they're getting data from these photos a lot more than we are with our lay eye, with the lay eye. But that being said, they certainly aren't the pictures that they made it sound like. And when I say NASA's hyping, I probably should add, NASA didn't really hype it as much. It was more the media that hyped it. I mean, but I think everybody involved knew that these pictures were just going to be a bunch more pictures of what looks like a star on a black star field. I don't know. I just don't think, whatever. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to wait till we got some folks in here on the screens tonight. All the way across the top, we've got protesting going on in both LA and in Portland. And these shots, most of these are from Portland. There's one up there of a rodeo or something. I don't know what that's all about, but anyway, the rest of them are of civil unrest or protests, except these ones right over me. These are the two volcanoes we've been watching, one in Hawaii, the one in Japan. And I got those up now so we can keep an eye on those again tonight. And then in the radar screen on Radar Omega, I have the only, right now, the only, I believe, the only severe thunderstorm warning in the country right now in Palestine, Texas, currently under a severe thunderstorm warning at this time. And we're kind of keeping an eye out this. There is a little bit of rotation here in the center of this. We are definitely, you can see there, we're getting our couplet, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely there. You can see it, and there's a possibility this might end up getting a tornado warning here. This might get upgraded to a tornado warning. So we are watching this storm as it just now is coming into Palestine proper, in northeast Texas. Okay, all this storm system, the northern end of it up here extends all the way through Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all the way up here to Wichita and Topeka. All going to get in on this. Topeka, you're just about to get wet. It's coming. And so you got all this coming across. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the full radar so you can see everything at one time. We've got a large storm system here, mostly moving from west to east with a slight southerly component or northerly component depending on where you are. We have one storm chaser out here. That's John McKinney, and he is moving from place to place here. So I'm going to go ahead and stick him down here in the corner like we do so we can keep an eye on him. But that is John McKinney. He is in Wayne, Oklahoma right now, trying to figure out where to go to stay in these storms. Some of these aren't working. Let's see here. I don't think that one's working. All right, so anyway, that's what we're watching tonight. There was a mesoscale discussion on here up till about 20 minutes ago, and it disappeared. So things are starting to wind down. The only place right now where we've got a severe thunderstorm warning anywhere in the country is Palestine, Texas. We've got a system there moving from southwest to northeast. And this is the one here that is showing a little bit of rotation. So we want to keep an eye on that one. Okay, so we're going to come back to this in a few minutes and see what we got. We'll keep our storm chaser up there. But there's what we've got. Big storm system moving across. All right, let me check the chat and see what's going on out there. Yeah, I noticed that the names are wrong again. And I have no control over that. So there's nothing I can switch. Which alien conspiracy? It's really not a conspiracy anymore. Although we don't know if it's aliens or extra-dimensional, extra-temporal. We really don't know what these intelligences are. But we know they're there now. Even the government's admitting to it. Speaking of the government admitting to things, that's what brings me to the next thing. Yes, this is breaking news. Breaking news right here on the Sights and Sounds of Earth on Starship Adventures. We've got breaking news tonight. This just broke a few hours ago before we took to air. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control in the United States, is quietly changing its vaccine and autism stance after many decades of controversy. The health agency is now going to launch a comprehensive assessment after years of stating there was absolutely no connection between vaccines, how they're given, and children becoming autistic. They have said for decades, there's no connection, there's no relationship, and if you think there is, you're nuts. We're telling you there's not. Now today, they've changed their mind. Remember, today's conspiracy is tomorrow's breaking news. Well, here we go. This was a conspiracy up till 10 minutes ago that these vaccines were causing autism. I've been saying it for 20 years. I was saying I was a cowboy before it was cool. You know what I mean? I've been saying this for years. That this is caused by these damn vaccines. Not specifically the vaccines, but how they're dumping so many of them on these kids at one time. It's more the schedule than it is the serum. But that's my opinion. And now I'm glad that the government has finally come around and now agrees with me that this is worth looking into and we need to expend money. Hold on. Hey, what's going on out here? Ed. It was Ed. And he's out there squaring off with Chewy, which is a stray that wandered up here about a year ago. The people next door moved out and they didn't take their 2 cats with them. So Chewy moved in here. I run a halfway house for cats. And Ed's out there hissing at him like he doesn't know who he is. Sometimes I think Ed's going senile. I don't get a lot of fights, but that, I don't know. And Ed's so loud that when he starts screaming, you can hear him in the next county. He's the loudest cat I've ever had. Now, I do want to say something as I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to read this article, and we're going to talk about this. I want you guys to understand I am not anti-vax. I've never been anti-vaxxed. As a matter of fact, I'm vaccinated for polio and about 12 other things, and I'm glad I am. This has nothing to do with my stance on childhood vaccinations as a whole. It has nothing to do with the efficacy of individual vaccines. And this has nothing to do with that COVID vaccine, which was not a vaccine and was a complete failure. What I'm talking about here is they are now seeing a correlation between autism and children that are getting these vaccines all dumped on them at one time. And it's going to be pretty easy now with AI and with reporting that we have today. It's going to be pretty easy to be able to pluck out 200 cases of autism, or say 5,000 cases of autism, and just go back and say, which vaccines did you get and how did you get them? And you can run a baseline right there. I've been saying this for years, but nobody would do it. Why? Because the government only tests something or does a survey on something or commissions a study on something when they already know the answer. They only do it because they already know the answer and they want the outcome to come public. They knew the answer to this all along, I'm convinced. They knew all along that the way we're giving these vaccines is causing this problem. Now, I'm going to tell you a personal story right now. I was dating a girl. It was never serious. We were just kind of dating and casual, just hanging out. And we did a lot of stuff together with my research group and stuff. And she had a son. And her son was a perfectly normal boy, spoke 3 or 4 words, was starting to walk, was doing great. She brought him in and got a bunch of those vaccines all at one time. It was the 1-year batch, whatever. Came home that day, was perfectly fine. Got up the next morning, stares off in the distance. Completely different child. Lost the ability to relate to the rest of humanity. Ever since then, and this was 18, 15 years ago, whatever. Ever since then, I've been an advocate that we need to not stop vaccinating, but we need to look into this. We need to study this with all of our might and all of our AI and all of our good, best doctors. We need to study this, because if we're giving this shit to our children in these vaccine schedules, this is something that could be fixed easily. This could be stopped immediately. This is going to be easy to prove, because there's certain societies out there that don't get these vaccines. And like I've been saying for years, if you go look, these societies have extremely low cases of autism. The more you vaccinate, the higher the cases go. It's there. They just didn't want to admit it all these years. And now, today, they've changed their website. They're doing it quietly. It's a soft rollout, because they're going to be pretty embarrassed, actually. The bastards have been telling us all this time for 30 years that we're nuts. You're nuts. It has nothing to do with vaccines. Shut your mouth. People are going to stop getting vaccines if you talk about it. Quit spreading disinformation. We're going to ban you off of Facebook and Twitter. And now, guess what? I think they're going to eventually now study it. They're going to study it now, and they're going to find out what we've known all along. And that's that one of the vaccines, the group of the vaccines being given together, the schedule that they're given, something is amiss. Something is amiss. And there's a way that we, as long as we now put our mind to it, our energy to it, our tax money to it, our private and public sectors both working on it, we can now come to a conclusion on this and fix it, so we don't have kids sitting in wheelchairs staring off in the distance for the rest of their damn lives. This is ridiculous. This should have been 20 years ago, CDC. I'm glad you finally got your act together. You're still with this soft rollout horse shit. Just come out and admit it. Well, I would like to see them come out in a press conference and say, look, we apologize. We were wrong. We're going to study this now. We don't know exactly who's right and who's wrong, but we are going to commission a non-biased, comprehensive, deep study of this and how it's happening to our youth. And that's all I've wanted all these years, was just, let's study it. Let's make sure. And now it looks more and more like they're seeing enough evidence that they're coming out now and saying that, yeah, there is a connection, and we are now committing resources and money to study it. That is so important. This is an important day for our children, for their children. Hi, Victor. What's up, buddy? Hey, user YJ5HD2JJ1V. What's up, buddy? Hey, Eyes. Gator, what's up? You listen to your doctor, you trust him. Good for you. Yeah, deploribus. Again, I don't know what the solution is. You could be right. Maybe we need to just give them one every 6 months for the first 6 years or something. Do they need them all that early? We dump all this foreign shit on these children while they're still developing and growing. The whole thing just seems a little reckless to me to begin with. But I also know that some of these vaccines, most of these vaccines, are very effective. They work. They keep our children safe, whether we're talking about polio or the human papillomavirus, whatever. They work. Not coronavirus. That one didn't work. That's an mRNA. It's a totally different thing. Didn't work anyway. Hey, Stefan, how's it going, man? Glad you made it in. No, Victor, I did not see that. Let me pull it up here on another tab so I can get it ready, and we'll do it later. Let's see if I can find something here. New series announced, and it's worth the 14-year wait. All right, we're going to do that coming up in just a few minutes. That's Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe. 3 amazing runs of a sci-fi show. My second favorite franchise behind Star Trek, Stargate, and they look like they're looking to come back. Now, don't get your hopes too high. I don't mean to sound like a shit, but guess what? They've tried this 4 or 5 times and it always goes dark. So hopefully it'll work this time. Hopefully they've gotten RDA and Shanks and some of the guys back to be in it. And of course Amanda Tapping, one of my crushes growing up. But yeah, I think that's a great run. We're going to get back to that in just a few minutes. But to finish up on the CDC thing, I want to go through this article and address it line by line. The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention has updated its website with a new stance on the potential link between vaccines and autism. The new wording on the CDC site states the claim vaccines do not cause autism is not evidence-based claim. So, in other words, they're admitting that what they've been saying all this time was never really based on evidence, because studies have not ruled out the possibility that infant vaccines cause autism. This is on their website as of today. Studies supporting the link have been ignored by health authorities. That's also there. The agency noted that the statement, vaccines do not cause autism, has been historically disseminated by the CDC and other federal health agencies in an effort to prevent vaccine hesitancy. Read between the lines. We lied so you wouldn't get scared and not give your kids the vaccines. Shit. This should be criminal. You should be able to sue them if your kid's got autism at this point. Previously, the CDC page stated, studies have shown that there is no link between receiving vaccines and developing autism spectrum disorder. They now have retracted that and now say that there does appear to be a link between vaccines and autism. Holy shit, this is big, guys. If you don't see it, I'm sorry. This is huge. We've been talking about this for many, many years. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, has launched a comprehensive assessment of potential causes of autism. Those include investigations on plausible biological mechanisms and potential causal links. The header, vaccines do not cause autism, does remain on the page, but has an asterisk, which indicates that it was not removed because the prior agreement rather than because evidence supports it. That's messed up. Oh my God. Children's Health Defense applauded the CDC's update to the website. It's about time. Finally, the CDC is beginning to acknowledge the truth about the condition that affects millions, disavowing the bold, long-running lie that vaccines do not cause autism. This from Mary Holland, the president and CEO of Children's Health Defense in New Jersey. No studies have ever proved this irresponsible claim. On the contrary, many studies point to vaccines as the plausible primary cause of autism. Thankfully now, the HHS has finally launched a comprehensive assessment on the causes of autism, including an investigation of plausible biological mechanisms associated to vaccine use. Other medical organizations have spoken out against the possibility of vaccines contributing autism, and many have spoke out for it. Studies have repeatedly found the American Academy of Pediatrics still states that studies have repeatedly found no credible link between life-saving childhood vaccines and autism. That's a GD lie, okay? That's a lie. And that's on the American Academy of Pediatrics. Take that bullshit off your website. It's been up there for 20 years and it needs to come down. When you say there's nothing that points to this, there's no studies that point to this, horse shit, you're lying. Hey, Stealth. Hey, Eyes, and Anonymous tries not. We already live in dystopia. It's just nobody really noticed. Yeah, kinda. I'm here for, yes, Ronald Reagan said that. God bless him. He said, the scariest word you'll ever hear in your life is, hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. What took so long, Gator? They knew this all along. All this stuff's going to be coming out now because we finally have transparency moving across DC like wildfire right now. And they're trying to get out ahead of this because it's about to get really nasty, I think. This is a big conspiracy. It's a big cover-up that's been going on for years. They almost pretty much have admitted now that they lied to us for years about autism's link to the way these drugs are given, or the drugs themselves. Vaccines, not drugs. And they know this. They've known it for years. But they deny it. And now they're saying that they denied it because they were worried people would stop vaccinating their children. Well, I tell you what, a lot of people would stop vaccinating their children. What do you think they're more likely to get? Human papillomavirus and polio, or autism from these damn shots? Look, one in 60 kids now has autism or something. The numbers are staggering. Staggering. I would venture to say you're probably safer to not get it at this point because all the other stuff that we've got vaccines for is almost gone. I don't know. This is crazy to me. I saw this today right at the end of our show. It broke right at the end of the show. And I walked in, I told Trey, I said, here, this is for tomorrow. And I stuck it right on top of the stack, and he picked it up. He goes, holy shit. I said, yeah. It's on the top of the stack for tomorrow, baby. Scientists are learning more about potential causes of autism all the time. One thing we know for certain is that vaccines are not one of the causes, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. See, once again, they don't know, but they're telling you they know. This is the kind of bullshit I can't stand. The latest CDC data shows that for children ages 8 born in 2014, about 31 or 3.2% were identified as autism spectrum disorder. In 2000, it was 0.67%. So it's definitely going up. But I want you to also remember something. How many people are diagnosed with something depends on when they were diagnosed, because we didn't diagnose people on this 30 years ago. We didn't know what we were doing 20 years ago. We kind of knew something 10 years ago, and now we know quite a bit, and we're diagnosing more and more people every day. I'm not sure if the number's rising quite as high as you think it is, because the number of people being identified as having it is going up as the education goes up and the awareness goes up, and I think that has a lot to do with it. So I'm not sure if these numbers are quite as exaggerated as it seems there. Um, but they are adding more, as they've added more and more and more vaccines to these cocktails over the years. The numbers have gone up on autism, and there does seem to be a lack of autism in societies and communities that do not vaccinate. So, it's there. We just have to look for it. Yeah. So there you go. That's what I have on it. There'll be more in the coming days, but I think what's best about this, what's absolutely best about this, is just the fact that we've gotten past them lying to us. Remember, the government constantly lies to you, and they'll always tell you, well, we were lying because it's for your own good. We're lying because it's for your own good. We don't want to lie to you, but it's for your own good. Just shut up and, just take whatever we say and just do it. Because, if we're lying to you, it's for your own good. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. It's for your own good. And that's literally what they've been doing all this time. They've been lying to you about this because they didn't want you to stop vaccinating. So they knew for years that this is like this. And yet they had you keep doing it by lying to you because they didn't want you to not vaccinate your children. And at this point, I'm not even sure what's worse. Having children that run the risk of being autistic because they've had all this shit dumped on them, or having a child that's the way God created him without all that crap in him and going it like that and making sure I know he won't have autism now. And what are the odds of getting some of that other stuff? I don't know. I'm starting to really wonder about all this stuff. Yeah, stealth mode. I talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the show. They're purposely not sharing the higher res images. They took a month to release what they released. They hyped it at first and then backed off of it and then released something that looks like pictures that were taken with an IBM Model 30 or something 50 years ago with a little teeny camera. I've never seen anything like this. They said they had 4K high res. Okay. Now, I knew they were never going to get close-up shots of this thing, but I expected more than what we got. I did. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. If you put mercury to stabilize these things, these vaccines, they're using mercury in there. And you give them a bunch of them at one time, you're dumping a bunch of mercury on a child. I don't know. That could be related to mercury. Hey, the Lone Silencer, what's up? Yeah, they'll tell you we can't handle the truth. We can't handle the truth about the aliens and the UFOs, and we can't handle the truth about autism and vaccines. We can't handle the truth about anything, apparently. Apparently, we can't handle the truth about Jeffrey Epstein and his clientele either. Yeah. I can still hear that phone call. Yeah, you better not let them pictures out. Yeah, it's probably good. I won't get a judge to call you up, tell you not to put them pictures out. Thank you. All right. Anyway, so that's what I have. That's the big news tonight, guys. That's where we're at with this. I don't feel well tonight. I may not do the full 2 hours, but I'll let you know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not feeling well right now. There you go. We go good with hockey. Yeah. Yeah, well, the frequency of UAPs has definitely gone up over the years, but I also attribute that a little bit to the fact that camera equipment's gotten better. In 1980, the chance that you had a working video recorder in your car was like 0.6%. Right now, the chance of you having a working video recorder in your car is near 100%. You see the difference? I had a shoulder camcorder. I was one of the first people to have one down here. I bought this thing at Sears, $1,600. I made payments on that bitch for 2 years. And I had it, and I still couldn't keep it in the car because the heat would ruin it. The heat would melt the tape. The heat would... So the chance of me having a working video camera, even though I owned one, was hit and miss. Now we all have one or two or three. I'm carrying my tablet, I've got my phone, and I got my backup phone from maps and stuff in the car. So just right now, if I'm in my car, I have at least 3 cameras that can roll video right on me. They can store it, broadcast it live. My first one was VHS. It was huge. It was a one-piecer. The first camera I ever used was 35 millimeter magnetic tape, and it was in my elementary school. The school district only had one of these cameras in the whole district, and one of my teachers was the AV person for my school, and she was taught how to operate it, and she used to travel around and shoot stuff for the school system. They learned early on that I was really smart with that kind of stuff. And next thing you know, I'm being trained how to use this piece of equipment. And the funniest thing was, they literally found a little wheeled cart that I could put the VCR battery part of it on. There was a part that went around your neck, and it was a big, huge, looked like a cooler, looked like you wearing a beer cooler around your neck. And in this cooler, in this soft-sided case, was a huge battery about the size of your car battery, and above that was a full-size VCR, basically, a top-loading VCR. And there was then a cable with a second cable. One cable was power and one cable was video. There was 2 thick-ass cables that came out of that pack and went 6 feet up into the bottom of the camera, and they went in the back of the camera, so they would come up the back of your neck. And then the camera had a handle on the side and a handle in the front, and it had controls, start and stop, and I think you could zoom or something with it. And when you press start, you'd hear the thing go, and you'd hear it start running down in the box, and then you could shoot your video. And you could only reuse a tape 3 or 4 times, and they were very picky about how much we recorded just for practice. That was my first VCR, and then after I got on the fire department, I got promoted to lieutenant. I got the raise, a couple checks in. I said, you know what, I'm buying me a camera. That's what I want. And I bought me a big old RCA over-the-shoulder VHS full-size camcorder. It came with a telephoto lens package that was kind of cool. You could screw on the front, and it was a great little camera. I bought a spare battery for it because the battery was only good for about 45 minutes, and the tape was only good for 2 hours. So but think about it. So why do we not have any video of UFOs in the 80s or the 70s? Because nobody had cameras back then. So when we talk about how, well, there's a lot more UFOs today, look how many more pictures we're getting. You can't compare it that way. You can't. I still do believe the occurrences are going up, but I don't think they're growing exponentially like some people think they are. Because there's more of us watching, There's more of us willing to talk about it. And now, instead of nobody having a camera, everybody has a camera. And not only that, we're in a society where the first thing we think is to pull out the camera. So we are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times more likely to capture something on video today than we were in 1983, for instance. How is the stinky onion? Yeah, I never watched Amanda in anything else. I just loved her in Stargate. It's common for guys to have crushes on the female stars on the Star Trek shows and Star Wars and Stargate and anything with the word star in it, pretty much, or space. Yeah, it just happens. I don't know what it is when you're growing up. I know all my nerdy friends, we all had crushes on the chicks on the sci-fi shows. Yeah, I don't know. Well, and yes, eyes, that's another one. We've got a lot, we've got more population. Now, granted, the population has actually plateaued at this point. The only thing that was causing our population to rise over the last 5 years is illegal immigration. I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but we've reached population equilibrium here. Southeast Asia is actually regressing. Europe is in regress as well. They're actually have less population every year. We're at the point that if we actually sealed our borders and everybody that came here stayed legally and left legally like they were supposed to, we would be going down by 100,000 people a year or something. We would actually be losing population. Why is that? Because industrialized, computerized, first world countries that do very well and people become professionals and go to college and become into all of the new technology and all the new businesses and all the entrepreneurship and philanthropy and everything. When a society gets like ours, children kind of move towards the back burner for a lot of people. I knew early on I wasn't going to have children. I told people, I had a discussion with one of my relatives about a month ago. They remember me telling them when I was like 14 years old that I will never have children. I don't want them. I don't like them. And they remember me saying that. And I mean, I have been adamant my whole life. I didn't want children. I don't want children. You either have them or you don't. You know, one of those kind of things. Jolene Blaylock, she's hot, but she's not my kind. She's not my type. I don't know why. She's a very attractive woman, trust me. I wasn't much on, I had a crush on Kate Mulgrew, but I did not have a crush on Seven of Nine in Voyager. I don't. I like the woman next door, not the hottie, if that makes sense. I'm more of a girl next door kind of guy. And I would much rather have Kate Mulgrew, Captain Janeway, than I would the really hot Borg chick in the skin suit. Yeah, I never wanted kids. I never, ever wanted kids. There was never a day in my life where I'm like, you know what, maybe I will have kids. No, never, not once. They all stink. They all make noises. We don't need any more. But the whole bottom line of my story here is that more and more people every year decide that they're not going to have kids. They don't want kids. They don't need kids. And that's fine. I worry a little bit about the loss of the nuclear family. I think it's important, even though I didn't want that life myself. It's important that many people do. We do have to keep procreating. All those things they said was going to kill us, the ozone layer, the acid rain, the global cooling, the coming ice age, feast, famine, all the different things that they said was going to kill us over the years, the rising tide, the sun, the earth, the moon, everything was going to kill us. Remember they told us all these things were going to kill us. Remember one of the things they said was going to get us? Overpopulation. Remember that? That was just another failure, like global warming and all these other things they said was going to kill us all, that we've turned around and proved never happened. It's not happening. We don't have a hole in the ozone layer. We don't have acid rain coming down. The globe's not getting any warmer. There's not water running through the streets of Miami. The bottom line is this planet kind of regulates itself. It does a really good job of that. And one of the things that it seems to be regulating is population. I don't understand it, but I know that as we become more civilized, more computerized, more intelligent, more first world, as all that happens, we have less children as an aggregate. And by having less children, right off just by having less children, you now fix all the other problems. Not enough food, not enough housing, not enough heating oil. You start to fix those other problems when you get population under control. So, would you please get off the goddamn keyboard? Immediately comes right over, sits on the keyboard, and all my screens go nuts. They cannot help themselves. God bless America. I hate that. But anyway, yeah, that was the big story for tonight. Now let's go over and look at this Stargate thing. I'm gonna bring this back up in a week or so, and we'll talk about it some more once more information comes out, and then I will continue to follow what's going on with vaccinations versus autism at the CDC and so on and so forth. So we'll get back to that. 24 years after the sudden cancellation of Stargate Universe, the beloved sci-fi franchise is coming back thanks to Amazon. Makes me proud to be a primer. The megacorp acquired the rights to the entire franchise when it bought out MGM in 2022, and ever since there have been rumblings of a new series coming to Amazon Prime Video. Today it was confirmed the Stargate is coming back as a streaming series that's being touted as its own entry in the franchise, with the new showrunner Martin Gero saying point blank it's not a reboot. Long-suffering fans have waited decades for more of the hit franchise, and the rest of the news today proves that the wait is worth it. This does not need to be a reboot, and they're saying it's not going to be a reboot. It doesn't need to be a reboot at all. We don't want to recreate the wheel. What this needs to be, and I hope, and I'm going to read the rest and we'll see where it goes. I haven't read it yet. Where I think it needs to go, it needs to pick up 24 years after Universe. It needs to pick up with it, and we can see what Stargate looks like today in 2025. We can hear all about the things that have happened, the things that are going on. There could be a whole new batches of bad guys and whole new batches of good guys, and we can still bring back the occasional Asgard or the occasional Gold or the occasional Jaffa. I think it would be really cool. I think it would be neat to be able to see 24 years into the Stargate future. Don't make this a prequel, a postquel, a sequel. Don't make it any of those things, and don't make it a reboot. What you need to make this is simply 24 years in the future, another series. And we need to see the same Stargate and the same Stargate command, maybe upgraded to current day technology, and see how over the years we've dealt with this and done this, and then go from there. Keep telling the story. Have Richard Dean Anderson show up as an advisor on a couple of episodes. You know what I'm saying? You could really make this cool. You could have Amanda Tapping come out of retirement for a couple of episodes. You could bring back the old cast members periodically to infuse it with energy, but have it running with new principal characters. See, I would love to rewrite this right now, because I think this would be a winner, what I'm talking about. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Because everybody's wondering what's happened over the last 24 years. Let's make the show about what's happened over the last 24 years. Right? Make it 2025 Stargate Command, the bottom of Cheyenne Mountain. I don't know. I think it's really a neat idea. Let's read on and see if they say what it's going to be like. The original Stargate creative team is back. First off, it's the fact that Martin Gero is the new showrunner. Gero got his start in Hollywood on Stargate Atlantis and would go on to write episodes for every series in the franchise, direct the Atlantis episode Brainstorm, and even serve as a creative consultant for the back half of Stargate SG-1. If anyone were to bring back the franchise, it should be someone who helped bring it to life in the first place, which is why it is especially impressive that they got Gero, not the only one returning to Stargate Command. Before SG-1, Stargate was a blockbuster science fiction movie directed by Roland Emmerich. Remember, it had whatever. We'll get to it in a minute. And now 31 years after he opened the gate for the first time, Emmerich is back for the Amazon series. Joining him is a longtime collaborator, Dean Delvin, who not only worked on the original movie, but has gone on to craft a generation of fun, lighthearted cable shows, including Leverage and The Librarians. If anyone will get the unique tone of Stargate right, it'll be those three guys right there. Even then, they aren't alone. Brad Wright, the co-creator of the Stargate television universe, is on board as a consultant, and during Amazon's event, he explained that his goal is to do things they couldn't do in 1997. He echoed Gero's enthusiastic statement that the new show won't rely on 350 episodes of accumulated knowledge, but can be enjoyed fresh. And then he hopes everyone will want to go back and watch the franchise from the beginning. The possibilities are endless. Beyond the creative team, little is known about the Amazon's new production Stargate series. Will it provide closure to the Destiny crew from Stargate Universe? Are we going back to Atlantis and the Wraith? Will we get to see the Stargate command officers again, and after all these years? Will we meet General Samantha Carter? Most importantly, will every planet look like Vancouver? That's an inside joke. They shot it in Canada, and every planet they went to was the same patch of woods in Vancouver. You don't care because you love the show. Given how each of the shows ended, there's plenty of new series to develop. Even it will be an entry point for newcomers. The Gold and Ori stories ended in the direct-to-DVD movies. Remember, Continuum and Arc of the Truth. They ended both the Ori timeline and basically the Gold timeline in both of those movies. And by the way, if you've watched Stargate and you liked it, but you've never watched those ending two movies, the Continuum and the Arc of Truth, wow, they're both amazing movies. Stargate Universe revealed more about the ancients, and who knows what technology is out there waiting to fall into the wrong hands. Stargate fans have plenty to speculate about, as the new series is still early in development and there's no release date yet. There's no cast, no setting, no characters, but none of that matters, because finally 14 years after the franchise went dormant, fans can celebrate Stargate is back. Better than Star Trek, it says. I don't know if I can agree with that. I'll be honest, Stargate is every bit as good as Star Trek in many ways. Trek just edges it out because of its sheer size and all the different things it's done over the years. but not because it's better, just because it's more. I think Stargate, SG1, those 10 series, and then the 5 of Stargate Atlantis, and then the 2 or 3 years they did of Universe. It's amazing television. Amazing. They're on my rewatch list. I do, when I go to bed at night, I put on a show and I'll watch it, and then I'll turn the TV up. And then the next night when I come in, I put it back on and it starts right back up where it was the night before. I rewatched the original series of Star Trek about 3 years ago. I've rewatched Stargate SG1 doing it this way. I've rewatched Atlantis. I've rewatched Universe. I've rewatched Next Generation. And this is what I do. Some nights I watch for 5 minutes. Other nights I stay up till 3 in the morning and watch 4 episodes. It all just depends on where I'm at and what I'm doing and how I feel. But I like that little binge every day, that little 10 minutes to an hour of time that I give myself to go back and binge watch an amazing TV show that was made by amazing people. And Kurt Russell. Yeah, James Spader, Kurt Russell. And it's funny because a lot of people don't realize James Spade kind of looks a little bit like, what's his name? I want to say Christopher Judge. I'm not sure. But the guy that plays Daniel Jackson in the TV show, they kind of look alike a little bit. And so because of that, a lot of people didn't realize it was a different person. They knew Kurt Russell was not Richard Dean Anderson, but they weren't sure about the other one. Claudia Black was good. I loved her. She was great in Farscape. I liked Farscape. I've watched all of Farscape. That was a sci-fi show made by Jim Henson, the puppet guy. You met Scotty. You met Jimmy Doohan on Mercer Island in Olseen Market in the 90s. He was old. It made me feel a bit sad. I also, for me, it was in the late 90s. I met him at the Airport Radisson, which is torn down now. And we had a Star Trek convention, a local one. He was the headliner. He was probably one of the only ones there I remember. I mean, it was a small convention, but he was there. And I ended up at the end of the line, literally like 10 people from the end of the line, which I thought was really bad. And I stood there for 3 hours and got to watch him talk to everybody, and I could hear him a lot of the time, depending on where the line was. And I talked to so many people. I ended up not being mad that I waited in line, because I got to hang out with all these wonderful Trekkies. And I got to sit in the same room with Jimmy Doohan for hours. By the time I got up there, he was on his 5th scotch. And he was 3 sheets to the wind, and he was fun. We talked. I told him he was my favorite character on all the shows. All this, I told him, I said, because at the time I saw him, Next Gen had already been on the air for a few years. And I told him, I said, you'll always be the best. You're the reason I watched the show. I told him, I said, you're my favorite. And I'm not making that up. To this day, he's my favorite of all the characters on all the shows. He's my favorite. There was just something about that character he played. And he's an amazing human being, a really nice guy. God bless his soul. We lost him years ago. The pilot episode of Star Trek is trippy when they realize they're under alien observation in a simulated reality. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I'm going through all the shows and I don't remember a pilot that's based on that. There was one where Picard was kidnapped and replaced with a doppelganger, and they were testing to see, they were doing tests on us like that. Yeah, the pilot episode of the original, it's kind of weird because the first air episode was the Salt Vampire, and that was actually like the fifth one they made or whatever. The original pilot was never actually aired on TV until later when they used the parts of it to make the Menagerie two-parter. The second pilot was Where No Man Has Gone Before, and that's the one where Gary Mitchell's gets the power and all that. And then those were the two pilots, and then the first episode was the Salt Vampire. So it wasn't any of those. Next Gen was Encounter at Farpoint. That was not that. And the Emissary, the pilot episode for Deep Space Nine, did not involve that. I'm trying to think. Voyager, they were kidnapped from the Alpha Quadrant by the Caretaker, and they had to fight off the Kazon. And then, of course, Enterprise was Broken Bow was the pilot episode where they have to return that Klingon fugitive back to his own people. My God, did I just give a synopsis of every pilot episode? I think I did. Yeah. Well, I'm happy about this Stargate thing. I can tell you guys that. That's another thing on Stargate. Most of the time on Stargate, when you saw an actual 4-star general or a 3-star general, anything more than 2 stars, it was a real general. You'll notice all the generals in that show couldn't act worth a shit. It's because they were all real generals. We had real generals go on that show and play themselves, basically, which I always thought was cool. Yeah, the pilot episode of the original Star Trek. You must be talking about The Cage. And that's the one where Captain Pike is kidnapped by these aliens with big asses on their head. And he's put in a cage. And then they use their mind to put him into scenarios so they can see how he's going to react. That's probably the one you're thinking of. I bet you that's called The Cage. That was the original unaired pilot, basically. All right, guys, I'm going to be bowing out a little early tonight. Give me anything in the chat room that you have for me. I'd appreciate it. Give me anything you want me to bring up or discuss real quick. In the meantime, let me check and make sure I covered everything I had on my list. Let me do this real quick. All right, and oh, it says NASA images of Comet. It says, spoiler alert, you won't be impressed. That's right on spaceweather.com. On November 19th, NASA released long-awaited images of the interstellar comet 3I Atlas taken by spacecraft near Mars and elsewhere. Their publication had been delayed for more than a month by the U.S. government shutdown. NASA cameras revealed the comet to be a fuzzy blob. Photos being taken now by amateur astronomers on Earth are actually more informative than what's been released by NASA. What does that tell you? I mean, when we got people on Earth getting us better pictures, something's wrong with that. Okay, I guess that's what we got there. All right. Not really a lot going on. The sun's quiet. That big sunspot is behind the sun now for the next 7, 8, 9 days, 10 days, whatever. And it will come back around again. We don't know if it's going to be worse, the same, or less. There's a different kind of Klingon coming soon. Is that the kind you get in the morning? No, I won't talk about that. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, that's what I have for you tonight. That is what I have. This is it's been fun. That's really, I'm looking to see if there's anything else here. And then, of course, the civil unrest, which we've had across the top up there. You can tell they're all heading home. Notice all the people are gone. There's a group of about 8 or 10 people left there. And everybody's kind of walking home. So that looks like it's breaking up peacefully at this point. And that volcano was starting to spit and spew a little while ago. It's calming back down again. That's the one in Japan. All right, guys, I guess that's what we have. I will be back tomorrow night. And I do plan on doing some broadcasting this weekend. We're going to see how it goes. I've got a lot of new equipment coming in. So I may just work in the studio this weekend and just do the evening shows, but I'm not leaving town this weekend, so I should probably will have a Saturday show as well, and we'll see how it goes. So probably every night coming up, and I'm going to be ordering a bunch of equipment. As you guys know, 100% of the money that I make in this show gets rolled back into the studio. Whether it's ad money, supers, doesn't matter. It all gets rolled in. Well, my YouTube check drops tomorrow, and I'm purchasing a broadcast laptop and all the equipment I need to broadcast shows in the car, and I'm buying the deck. I'm going to build a deck in there. It's going to be cool. I can't wait to get all that set up. It's going to be amazing. I'm literally setting my car up to be a broadcast, basically a mobile studio, basically. Makes me kind of almost wish I still had a van, but I really don't. It needs to be something I can drive and do it from the driver's seat. I'm even working on a way to use the mouse on the center console using a clipboard, and I'm going to have the computer in there. And guess what? I found for under $100 I can get a mobile screen that looks just like the screen on the laptop, and it will mount right next to it. So it'll have 2 screens. So I'll have a laptop with basically 2 screens, and I'll be able to have the broadcast on one and the live screen on the other. It'll be really cool. I can't wait to get it all set up in there and test it out with you guys. But I'm not sure what's going to happen this weekend. I'm not sure how close I'll have to get it going this weekend. All right, there we go. It'll be cool to see. We're going to be doing... Yeah, we're going to do it all. I'll do it live. I'll explain. Once I get it all set up, I'll show you guys how I did it, what we did, how we did it. And then I'm going to be going out on a much more regular basis. I plan to start going out once a weekend. I'm going to go out every weekend. And in a couple weeks, once everything's all established and installed, I'm going to go out every weekend and work a couple parks. I'm going to go out every weekend and show you guys something. And I'm going to try to increase my content, both quality and quantity, with this. But we're still going to be doing the studio shows here at night at 9 o'clock. All right, everybody. Yep, we'll see you guys later. Everybody, live from Southwest Florida, from the Starship Studios in Southwest Florida. My name's Ian, and this has been the production tonight of the Sights and Sounds of Earth right here on Starship Adventures. Thank you, lady, for joining. I do appreciate that. And we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. We're on almost every night at 9 p.m. right here for a multi-screen version of what's going on in the world out there called the Sights and Sounds of Earth. So there you go. Also, I'm getting things back up over on Starship After Dark. So check out our other channel, Starship After Dark. Over there, we do unmanned broadcasting. On this channel, it's 100% hosted. Please hit the bell. On the Starship After Dark channel, it's 100% not hosted. Don't hit the bell. But do subscribe. Please subscribe. And that way you'll still see what we've got going on over there in your feed, as well as you can check it out. Now, the SSTV went down again. I'm having a hard time with that computer right now. But Chicago and Baltimore scanner feeds are up with aircraft tracking. And the 7.2 is up right now. You can see it right here behind me. This is the 7.2 broadcast going out right there. And then over here we've got the Chicago, and over there is Baltimore. So we're getting things going. SSTV is over there. You can see there with the error screen going. Bullshit. And then I got 3 more computers over there that are dark right now, and I'm going to get those going too. It's just a lot of man hours. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Have a good one out there. We'll see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. right here on Starship Adventures. Have a good night, everybody. Sleep tight. Safe tomorrow. 7 threes. Good night.